All right, so today's teaching, I thought I would talk about how to work in a fourfold way, how to use my octave resonance healing approach to what we're doing today. I'm actually getting ready to go out back into my RV and go out west for the winter. And I was thinking I should probably just do a video every week on this, the octave resonance approach to doing your dishes, the octave resonance approach to taking a walk, the octave resonance approach to, picking out healthy foods. It's basically how to honor that we have a physical body, we have a life force body. So the physical body is very similar to what rocks and minerals have. You would say that there's a certain consciousness in rocks and minerals and hard things. Like this is just a bonger for a mallet for a chime. And then we have our life force. So we have our emotions and images, and we have our spirit. So let's go through those 4 levels right now and get us really here present for this distance healing so we can really have a fuller experience of helping each other. Okay, so on a physical level, we're all in different places looking at our devices. Maybe a couple of us are looking at the same screen, but most of us are separate. So feel how that's the physical structure. And the other thing that belongs to the octave of the physical is what you're doing with your physical body. Like, are you moving it? Are you taking action, a physical action? So the physical action I have is I'm noticing I decided to sit in front of my gong instead of next to my blank wall. And I'm feeling the difference of that. The physical location's creating a different sensation in my body. So the physical's the physical, and then the life force responds to that, also responds to emotions. But my sense is that if you were to move your device into a different room, your body would feel subtly different, or maybe dramatically different, depending on where you moved it to. And if you moved it like outside in the cold or the heat, it would feel different again. So just notice that we have our physical bodies with us, even though we're doing distance healing. And then let's take an action, and I'd like you to do 1 or 2 things. I'd like you to get some water to hold it. This is just a mug of water. And then later I'm going to pour it into a larger container of water so that it sort of infuses the whole thing. And I just thought it was better for the camera to have a little mug than my great big Nalgene thing. That. And then the other thing is you can hold something that represents everybody who is on the list. And for me, I'm going to hold this bottle of rosemary. So I have this bottle of rosemary, and I'm just going to hold it. And rosemary is a great herb for resilience and uprightness, and kind of the opposite of the gangly Cancer energy. So I'm holding on to the rosemary in each of you on the list, all of the people or the pets with Cancer, that upright part of us that can just shut off the creepy crawly Cancer energy, just this straight up and down. If you think of the rosemary leaves, how kind of strong they are. They're like little pointed things. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing. So I'm holding it in my hand. And then if you can, let's do a little exercise. Okay, so I have my water and my rosemary, and you can have an object that represents all the people and pets with Cancer that we're going to work on, and some water. I want you just to feel how you feel while you're holding these. And I'd like you to put them down and don't hold them. And notice if you feel any different. And you feel it in your life force. So this is your sense of vitality, your sense of energy, your sense of flow, your sense of being able to have an uprightness to you versus kind of a collapsy feeling. And then you go back and forth a little bit. So I'm going to hold this and feel how I feel, and I'm going to put it down and feel how I feel. And I can pick it up and down. All right, so when I do that, when I'm holding this, I feel like I'm more all here. My life force sort of wakes up and engages with you guys more. When it's down, it feels it's like more of a mental activity. I'm still present, and all that, but this feels like it's like something settles in me and I'm like through a portal. Does anybody else get a sensation when they try that, or did anybody else try that? Yeah. All right. So I don't know if there's a delay or if nobody tried it, but anyway, if you try it later, put your comment in. All right. So now that's the physical and the life force. Now let's go up to the octave of emotions and images. And another name for this is astral. And but astral means weird things to people. So this is just your emotions and your images. It's a very human part of us that it's a layer of our consciousness. So I'd like you to notice how you feel about being here today. Are you excited? Are you hopeful? Are you at peace? Are you in turmoil? Are you desperate? Greg says holding the objects feels more full circle and more whole. Okay. All right. So this is the little spiritual researcher that I am. I'm like, I don't just do this because that's what somebody told me. I'm noticing if it's helpful right now. Because I can guarantee you that if I was to do this 100 times, there would be at least several of those times where it feels better to not hold anything and just to be clear. So it's not about having the right form. It's about interacting with form and with consciousness. I want to say that again. It's not about having the right form. It's about interacting with the form consciously. Somebody write that down. That was good. All right. All right. So now to involve the emotions, we think about how we care about being here. We care about the people on the list. We care about each other if we're coming here regularly. If you're not here regularly, you're curious, you're interested. There's a sense of emotional warmth, or hopefully there's a sense of emotional warmth. Yeah, so just notice your emotional thing. All right. And then this builds. So first of all, we get here physically, then we hold our objects and we feel kind of plugged in. And then I respond emotionally to that plugged in. I feel more animated. I feel more like, this is cool. This is actually, I'm starting to get into it. It's building. And that gives me a sense of excitement, which is an emotion. And I bring that into my awareness and I include that. All right, this is a way of bringing all of us to the healing so that we can do it holistically, so we have more to work with. All right, now the next level up is the spiritual. And the spiritual is that part of us that can observe our emotions. So it's our happy part of us can be watched by a witnessing part of us, or our sad part of us can be watched by a part of us that is not sad, that can just observe that we are sad. It's beyond emotion. And this spiritual part of us, I would say of the spiritual, like this is the physical and this is the etheric or the life force, and this is the emotional and images, and this is the spiritual. The bottom part of spiritual is thinking, and then the top parts of the spiritual are the parts that are like where the thinking comes from, or higher spiritual places that we're not conscious of, but we can think about. All right. And we don't have to be thinking about them while we're doing distance healing, but sometimes when we get a great thought, like I feel grateful. Like if I get a great thought, that just came together. I'm like, there's a sense of gratitude for that coming in from somewhere. Is it coming from a part of me? If we're all, this gets into a lot of philosophy. So that's the spiritual part, okay? The part that has stories and analogies and metaphors for something that's beyond story and analogy and metaphor, but yet seems to be very much part of most, if not all, human beings experience. All right, so the thing that connects all of this, there's many things that can connect all these 4 octaves, but one of them is sound. So I'm going to take this chime and I'm just going to hit it. And I'd like you to notice your 4 octaves, your physical, your life force, your emotions, and any imaginations that come to you, and your thinking. And notice how this sound helps do that. All right, good. And note, did anybody else feel, I know it's maybe probably some of the overtones are canceled out with this microphone, but for me, I just really felt more whole and complete when I played that sound. It felt like it all just sort of blended. It almost felt like I walked out and had a little hike in nature or something, or stood out at the seashore, or did something like that. Yeah. Cheryl says, yes, I feel a surge of swirling energy, and it diminishes when I put it down, put it them. Yeah. All right. All right, great. All right, so now let's do the healing.